You were not born to live half asleep, drifting through life with a phone in your hand and a soft pillow under your head. Every man faces the same crossroads: rise as a warrior of purpose, or rot as a slave of comfort. The Templar spirit was not forged in ease. It was built in fire, conviction, and the refusal to kneel before weakness. And whether you admit it or not, your comfort has been training you to kneel. Today, you choose: ascend with discipline or surrender to the slow death of convenience. You think you're living well because your life feels comfortable. But comfort is not a reward, it's a trap. Modern life has softened you without you noticing. It replaced discipline with distraction, purpose with entertainment, and strength with convenience. While you chase small pleasures, your spirit grows dull. Contrast this with the Templars, men who embraced hardship, who chose vows that cut away weakness instead of feeding it. They understood a truth you keep avoiding. Comfort does not love you, it owns you. And the longer you cling to it, the smaller you become. A Templar never woke up wondering what his life was about. He didn't drift, didn't wander, didn't see what happens. He lived under a vow, a declaration that his existence belonged to something higher than comfort or impulse. That vow shaped every decision, every movement, every battle. And this is exactly where modern men fall. Most wake up with no mission, no direction, no driving cause. They live reacting instead of leading, consuming instead of building. When you lack purpose, life becomes a long, slow collapse disguised as routine. Purpose is not a dream, and it's not motivation. It is a line you draw in the sand, a direction that refuses to let you shrink. When a man has a clear purpose, he stops negotiating with laziness. He stops wasting his days on trivialities. He stops bending to emotions that make him smaller. Purpose is what sharpens the mind and hardens the will. But when you lack it, every distraction feels important. Every comfort feels deserved. Every small excuse feels valid. You drift, and drifting is nothing more than dying in slow motion. A Templar spirit begins with a vow, not to an institution, but to a mission that elevates you above your weaknesses. You must choose a purpose strong enough to cut through noise, powerful enough to anchor your days, worthy enough to demand sacrifice. Without it, no discipline holds, no routine lasts, no victory comes. Purpose is the sword. Without it, you're unarmed. The Templars did not wait for motivation to strike. They trained because their mission required it. Their bodies were not ornaments, they were instruments. Their minds were not playgrounds, they were fortresses. Discipline was not optional, it was the foundation of their survival and their strength. But in the modern world, discipline has become a rare commodity. Men claim they are tired, burned out, or not in the mood, but what they really lack is structure. They confuse exhaustion with weakness, and weakness with identity. You are not tired. You are undisciplined. Your mind has been conditioned by comfort to avoid anything that demands effort. And every time you obey that impulse, you reinforce the chains. A Templar trained daily, not because it was pleasant, but because it was necessary. He understood that softness in the body leads to softness in the spirit. Today, men want strength without sweat, clarity without silence, mastery without repetition. They want rewards without paying the price. That is why so many crumble at the first sign of resistance. Discipline is the sword of the modern warrior. It cuts through excuses, distractions, and emotional fog. It forces you to act when your feelings tell you to shrink. It reminds you that your mission does not care about your mood. If you want the spirit of a Templar, start where they started, with daily discipline. Build rituals that anchor your mornings. Move your body even when you don't feel like it. Guard your attention as if it were sacred. The body must be trained. The mind must be sharpened. The will must be tested. Strength does not appear. It is forged. A Templar did not become strong by adding more to his life. He became strong by removing what weakened him. His vows were not about accumulation. They were about subtraction. He cut away comfort, attachment, distraction, indulgence. He understood a brutal truth. A man cannot rise while carrying what is dragging him down. This is where the modern man fails the most. You want to grow, but you refuse to let go. You cling to habits that drain you, people who distract you, pleasures that soften you, routines that keep you small. You hold on to the very chains you claim to hate. And then you ask why you feel stuck. Renunciation is not punishment. It is purification. It is the deliberate choice to remove what corrupts your discipline, poisons your focus, and steals your strength. You cannot build a sharper mind while drowning it in noise. You cannot forge a stronger body while feeding it lethargy. You cannot rise in purpose while entertaining the same temptations that destroy your momentum. The Templars lived with clarity because their lives had limits. Their limits protected them from themselves. Modern men avoid limits, and because of that, they collapse. Without boundaries, you say yes to everything that feels good and no to everything that makes you better. That is the pattern of a slave, not a warrior. Renunciation demands courage. Courage to delete the apps, block the temptations, end the patterns, step away from the noise, and silence the impulses that make you weak. It requires choosing the long-term man you want to become over the short-term pleasure that keeps you ordinary. Cut boldly, cut quickly, cut without apology. Only then will your strength have room to grow. A Templar was powerful, but never solitary. His strength was multiplied by his brothers, his discipline sharpened by shared standards, his courage reinforced by the presence of men who refused to bend. The Templars understood what modern men forget. Isolation is not independence. It is vulnerability. Today, men isolate themselves and call it freedom. They hide their weaknesses instead of confronting them. They walk alone not because they are strong, but because comfort taught them to avoid accountability. A man alone drifts. A man among warriors rises. Brotherhood is not a luxury. It is a safeguard. It is the structure that keeps your purpose alive when your emotions betray you. Every Templar relied on a circle of men who held him to a higher standard. They trained together, fought together, prayed together, and corrected one another. That alliance created unbreakable conviction. Modern men, however, surround themselves with people who encourage mediocrity, friends who validate excuses, circles that celebrate weakness, environments that make growth optional. You become the weight of the men you walk with. If you walk with the soft, you grow soft. If you walk with the unfocused, you grow unfocused. But if you walk with the disciplined, you grow disciplined. If you walk with the committed, you rise. The spirit of the Templar requires alliance, not as dependence, but as multiplication. Seek men who also want to elevate their minds, bodies, and purpose. Build a circle where discipline is normal, not exceptional. Where weakness is challenged, not comforted. Where rising is expected, not optional. No Templar rose alone. Neither will you. You don't need to become a medieval knight to live with the strength of one. You only need to start acting like a man who refuses to bow to comfort. Begin with 4 movements, simple but non-negotiable. Define your purpose in one clear sentence. If you cannot name what you're living for, you will waste your days on what destroys you. Choose one discipline to practice daily. No excuses, no negotiations. It can be physical training, early rising, cold exposure, or focused work. Cut one thing that weakens you. A habit, a distraction, a vice, a digital parasite. Remove it without ceremony, And finally, align yourself with at least one person who wants to rise with you. Iron sharpens iron, isolation dulls it. Do this for 7 days. No breaks, no compromise. You will feel the shift. Not because life became easier, but because you stopped living as a slave to comfort. Comfort is not your friend. It is the silent master that keeps you soft, distracted, and far below your potential. And every day you obey it, you choose to live as a slave. But there is another path, the path of the Templar spirit, a path of purpose, discipline, renunciation, and alliance. A path where you rise, not because it is easy, but because you refuse to kneel. The world does not need more comfortable men. It needs men who stand, men who build, men who endure, the kind of men who carry fire in their chests and conviction in their steps. So this is your call, rise. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. You either ascend as a warrior of purpose or remain chained to the comfort that is slowly killing you. Rise today.